Today's Morning First Alert weather show is brought to you by Sam Bernstein Law.
Alrighty, good Wednesday morning, Mid-Michigan. I'm First Alert meteorologist Matthew Mondro here with First Alert update for today. Certainly has been a foggy, pretty damp start to the day so far. That's after all of the rain from yesterday and after the snow melt as a result of that rainfall too, and some of these temps that have been inching up just above freezing. So certainly again has been pretty wet starting off the day here, but I will say past the fog and past the dampness, the rest of today is actually going to be a pretty quiet day weather-wise. Even most of tomorrow will be pretty quiet weather-wise as well. It's not until tomorrow evening that we see our next round of rain returning to mid-Michigan, and then along with the rainfall tomorrow evening, we'll even see some warmer temperatures returning, although it will be brief. But we are tracking some 40s. Potentially even some 50s in the forecast too. And I know it's a little bit hard to believe, especially at this time of year, but that definitely is the case. We are going to be tracking some 50s coming in here just briefly on Friday morning. So if you have been waiting for a little bit of milder weather to return, well, we will have it for just a little bit as we start off the day on Friday. But we will go ahead and get into the forecast here. I'll first show you this live look of I-75 in Flint Township. This is right near Miller Road. And around there, this is one area where we've definitely held on to some fog throughout much of the morning so far. Now, with this here, we actually are expecting the fog to hold on at least through lunchtime today, so potentially even into the early portions of the afternoon. Even though we don't expect much wind today, we should see the wind picking up just enough as we go into the afternoon, so that should help to clear out the fog a little bit more. But just as an example here, we're looking south on 75. You still really can't see Flint Assembly there on the horizon in the background as well. So definitely still seeing some of those visibilities being impacted currently. Now, as we again go forward into the afternoon, we should see some of this fog thinning out a little bit more for us. And we're already seeing that on the west side of the state. Again, it's not too incredibly windy on the west side of the state at all, but just enough wind that is helping to get this fog out of here just a little bit more. Now, one important note about the remainder of today too is that we will have temps eventually making their way up to about 38 degrees for our highs this afternoon. So with these highs into the upper 30s for most of us, that does mean that some of the ice that we have out there that's still left over should be able to melt away a little bit more as well. So any of those lingering slick spots that you have, especially if you live in a more rural area, maybe your road is still a bit icy, if it's a dirt road especially, that should see some improvement later on today. But no doubt all of these roads are still going to be pretty soggy and damp for the remainder of the daytime. In our First Alert traffic map, this actually doesn't look too bad for us too. We're actually seeing plenty of green, really things looking quite normal, nothing out of the ordinary up north, even into the Thumb and the Bay region and around Mount Pleasant. All of these drive times are looking pretty good for us as well. Earlier this morning, there actually was some ice, especially developing on M30 near Mount Haley Township. So that's in southern Midland County. That was an area that we did see some slower travel between M20 and M46, but clearly back to normal at this point. So conditions not looking too bad there for those drive times. And even moving south into Flint, Genesee County, a lot of the surrounding areas there too, not in too bad of shape as of this point. So we should be able to hold on to these normal drive times for the remainder of the day today. And even though we have more rain coming up in the forecast, especially tomorrow evening and night, we'll be even warmer by then with those temps in the 40s and then some of those 50s I was mentioning too. So there's certainly no chance of ice with this next round of rain that comes in towards the end of the work week. But going into the weekend, we do still have some snow chances in the forecast, particularly on Saturday. So there's another system that we're watching for Saturday as well. So we're still taking this one system at a time, because also the way tomorrow night plays out, that can affect the way Saturday plays out as well. But overall, the key takeaway for the upcoming weekend is that we are going to be making a little bit more of a return to some more typical wintry conditions, especially again with some snow showers coming back into the forecast. I'll go ahead and show you that First Alert 7-day forecast here just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. So we do have highs into the mid 40s tomorrow, and we only fall down to about 40 degrees tomorrow night. That should be fairly early in the night too. We'll then see temps actually starting to warm back up towards Friday morning, eventually up to about 50, potentially some Low 50s in the forecast for Friday morning, but that should be just in the morning. So we'll go right back down to the 30s on Friday afternoon, and then there's that cooler weekend, so temps that are closer to normal for this time of year. After that, the beginning of next week, after all this up and down this week and after all the wet weather this week too, we actually should start off with some quieter conditions on Monday and Tuesday. So what we'll do here is we'll take a quick break, and when we come back from the break, we'll discuss a few more details regarding the rain for tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, and some details on the warmth as well. Certainly, again, I know something that some of us are looking forward to. It is still pretty early in the winter after all, but if you've been wanting just a quick little relief with some milder weather on the way, again, that is on the way here in the forecast for tomorrow and Friday. So we'll come back from this break, and we'll talk some more details about that in the forecast. All right, so we are back from the break. We are tracking some milder weather as we go into tomorrow and as we go into Friday, at least during the morning on Friday. So that'll be with our next storm system making its way into mid-Michigan. No threat of ice this time around, though, with this upcoming system, so it will just be all rainfall that we're tracking with that. So I'll get you right into the details for this. Our next rain, that'll be arriving tomorrow evening at about 7 in the evening. We've seen that timing pretty consistent as of this point too, about 7 to 8 o'clock. So if you do have any plans tomorrow, some traveling, maybe you just have some errands to run tomorrow as well, you actually do have plenty of time during the day. Again, it won't be until about 7 in the evening that we start to see that rain coming in. So it will be after dark by that point too. And with the warmth that we have in the forecast, we actually do have a chance for a few rumbles of thunder. Certainly something that's not impossible. Really, we can have thunder at any time of year as long as the conditions line up just right, and that is looking to potentially be the case for tomorrow night. So if you do hear a couple of rumbles of thunder, you are not being deceived by that. Certainly a possibility for tomorrow night. So I'll take you into the first alert hour by hour. So again, we're dry up until about 7 in the evening. We see our first rain showers coming in for places like Mount Pleasant, Elma, St. Louis, Ithaca, even around Chesaning and Owasso. So these will kind of sweep in from the west side of the state. That rain will continue to pick up a bit more as we go towards the very late evening, and this is really getting into the overnight hours at this point. So about 10 to 11 o'clock, I can inch the hour by hour forward just a little bit more here. That's towards 11. You see some pockets of heavier rain that's coming in at that time, and that's where we have that chance to have a few rumbles of thunder as well. So again, definitely a possibility as we go into Thursday night. So those pockets of heavy rain will also add to those rain totals just a little bit more. Now, as we go towards about 1 o'clock, you see this here. This is where we have this sort of final line of rainfall beginning to line up for us, but that does stick around until about 6, 7, maybe even 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday, but pretty much after 8 in the morning on Friday, we should have that rain completely out of here. The rest of the day on Friday is expected to be rain-free. Of course, we'll still have plenty of damp roads, kind of like today, and we'll hold on to the cloud coverage just like today as well. But that right there on your screen is even by noon on Friday. By then, all of those conditions are looking pretty quiet for us. And the rain totals for the system between about 1/4 and 1/2 of an inch. So where we see some of the heavier pockets of rain, that's where you do have that greater likelihood of seeing totals approaching that 1/2 inch mark. Now, as far as the temperatures go around that time, so we were again talking about 40s and maybe even some 50s in the forecast too. This right here is a snapshot. Oh, and it looks like the graphic did update a little bit. I'll be able to set this to the proper time. But the hour by hour has even been picking up on the 50s for Friday morning. So I'll go ahead and set this back just a couple of hours. It is going to be pretty early in the day where we see some of these 50s. Okay, so there we are, 6 in the morning on Friday. And take a look at that. Some of those temps into the low 50s potentially, but this will be sort of split across our area, so I don't think everybody will see the 50s, but even up north you should pretty easily be into the 40s on Friday morning as well. But as we go forward from that morning commute time frame or morning bus stop time frame on Friday, we will have those temperatures eventually cooling down for us. So by the afternoon we will again see those temps falling down into the 30s, and we will continue to fall down a little bit more into the upper 20s as we go into Friday night. So I can kind of animate this for you here too. So we'll put the hour by hour in motion for these temps. So here we are again going into Thursday night and Friday morning. You see all that warmth coming in, those 50s, and then eventually we see those temps cooling down very quickly. Even by about 10 o'clock in the morning, we're already back to about 40 degrees, and then the 30s take over for the afternoon, and then only getting colder from there. So one of those sort of dynamic temperature days, but again, it should be pretty incredible to see some 50s on Friday morning. And going into the upcoming weekend, I was mentioning a little bit earlier too, we are tracking a chance of both rain and snowfall with that. Right now we are still taking this one system at a time because this has been a pretty active week, and with the way each system ends up playing out, it can actually have a bit of a snowball effect on the next system that moves through as well. So that's why we still haven't locked in anything concretely just yet for Saturday, but on Saturday we are tracking a chance of both rain and snow. We should very much see another storm system make its way into mid-Michigan. So I'll take you back here to the hour by hour. So this is on Saturday morning. Things are still looking quiet, at least early in the morning on Saturday, but once we go towards the midday and afternoon, see how we have this system starting to move right through the lower peninsula. Now the snowfall part of the system has actually been sliding south a little bit more as well. So even just yesterday when we were on the same weather show 24 hours ago, the rain was reaching as far north as Houghton Lake and Ascota, if not even a little bit farther north of there as well, up towards the Gaylord and Grayling areas too. But we've definitely seen a cooler trend in the forecast for Saturday. Those storm tracks coming south just a little bit more too, which is helping to bring that snow coverage a little bit farther south into mid-Michigan as well. Now, this is still something that I don't want to write off completely yet, for the fact that we will likely still see some rain or a wintry mix, especially for southern areas like Flint or Lapeer. But the snow chance for everybody in mid-Michigan has been going up a little bit more for Saturday. So it's definitely something worth watching and keeping a close eye on, because even in the guidance that we do have with several other models as well, they are likely pointing towards more of an accumulating snow that should bring at least a couple of inches if everything plays out kind of like we're seeing it right now. So just something that we do want to make you aware of for Saturday. And then once we go into Sunday, we will be falling into more of a lake effect pattern. So I'll move the hour by hour forward just a little bit more, and you see how the system starts to pivot its way out of here, and then we're catching sort of the wraparound that does have some lake enhancement as we go into Sunday. So Sunday especially falling back into more of that typical sort of wintertime pattern. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that for the weekend, and then the beginning of next week, that'll be getting off to a much quieter start. The longer term trend is still showing that we'll cool down even more. Highs in the 20s should be pretty commonplace by the end of next week. So we should start off next week at least in the 30s before falling down into the 20s. So certainly a very active forecast for now, but again, for the remainder of today, we'll just be holding on to more of these foggy, sort of damp conditions too. There's a look at I-75 and Birch Run, just to give you a preview of how those conditions are looking out there as well. So the fog, that should hold on at least into the early afternoon for today. But at this point, that rain and the storm system from yesterday has left our area. So we're now awaiting that next round of rain that's going to end up arriving to our area tomorrow evening. But until then, we hope that you have a great remainder of your Wednesday morning. We hope that you stay dry as well. And coming up at 2 o'clock today, First Alert meteorologist Stone Schaefer is also going to have some more updates regarding tomorrow night's rain and some of that potential thunder, and then also another look at that weekend forecast too. So he'll have plenty more details on all of that coming up here at 2 o'clock this afternoon on all of these same streaming channels as well. But again, hope that you have a great remainder of your Wednesday morning and tune back in at 2 o'clock.